Hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome to volume 7 of the Disney 17. Going back in
Mm.
time. 17 of the Disney Compendium. January 25th, 1961. 101 Dalmatians. As usual, I'm your host JJ, and over there on the other end of the line is my good buddy Nick. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm happy to be on the 101st edition of the show, where we're
Um,
covering Frozen 7, I think.
yeah, yes, exactly. Uh, that's probably, let's see. I'm trying to think. We've got
No, I'm
50,
confused.
50. I think, yeah, it's just over 50 animated movies. So add another 50 to that. Sure.
Yeah,
Frozen 7 seems about right.
Frozen 7.
But it's tricky because you have to remember when looking up stuff for this movie to spell out 101
Yes.
because if you just type it 101, you get the 96 live action movie. So when
Or,
you're looking for photos or of this particular movie or references and stuff, you just get if you type 101, you just get real Dalmatians.
it turns out you'll also get, like, the animated series as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. TV series that this is the era where you're gonna start seeing their franchises return in 40 years or
Yeah.
pointless things.
Like,
But yeah, this movie 1961. So
you,
um,
you said it
just
just celebrated a birthday, right?
January 25th.
Yeah.
So and it's funny, my dad's birthday is the 29th of 1961. So they're basically the same age.
Of course, you made him watch it with you.
Absolutely.
There you go.
It doesn't take much to get my dad to watch Disney movies, so it's all
Yeah.
right. But yeah, it's funny because like this movie is 80 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about
Uh,
right. But
yeah,
yeah.
it's a little under an hour and a half. Um, you so it's not particularly short, especially for this era of cartoons. It's probably a little on the longer side than some because they some of them barely break an hour. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh, but the plot moves at such a quick pace, and then
Yeah.
it doesn't really have a ton of like length stretching filler. It just sort of moves along.
I think the only part that I think where it drags is like when they're in hiding.
Yeah, yeah, where
That's
they're
about it
trying to,
though.
yeah, and they're trying to create some sort of suspense for you know
Yeah.
the extra minutes. But yeah, it's it's interesting. It's been I was gonna say it's been a while since I've seen this, but it really hasn't been. But it feels like it has been because I'm sitting down like, oh yeah, I remember only a couple of things about this.
I got to watch it because about a year ago you gave me your digital copy of it. So
That's what happens when I get just keep rebuying these things as I just keep winding up with digital copies of things I already have digital copies.
double dipping, double J.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't take much to get me to like now they're starting to re-release all these movies in 4K. Like
You're like,
yeah, so it's like Lion King just came out in 4K, and then like Little Mermaid's about to come out in 4K, and it's like fine.
I'm gonna buy it, but I'm gonna complain about it.
But yeah, let's start with the plot. You want to start us off here?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to talk about the opening credits because I actually really like those.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
they're super cool.
Yeah. I kind of like how like the little musical notes and like the black and white. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's actually like really cleverly done opening credits.
yeah. I
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we actually get into the plot, I do want to say that I never read the book that it's based on before.
Nor have I.
So, but I looked up the book and was sort of thumbing through it, and it's close. It's close enough. Certain things changed, but the heart is all still there. So,
Yeah. Are you drinking during the episode?
no, I don't know
No.
what. The,
I just said swig a beer for Disney fans. All right. So the plot is we have Pongo and his pet Roger. He refers to Roger as his pet. They're
yeah.
both they're both bachelors.
Yep.
Roger is a songwriter. Pongo is done with the bachelor life basically. So Pongo is like looking for ways to get Roger a lady and get himself a lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah. It's a very interesting setup for a movie for
yeah,
Disney cartoon.
yeah. It's like I gotta get this guy some action so I can too. And so Pongo's scooping out all these women walking their dogs, which all look like them. Which is like
Yeah. It's it's both like it's both like it's the funny visuals, but it's also very problematic because it's the you know it's just like scoping out women
yeah,
based like judging them rather harshly.
yeah. Pongo is a. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Pongo's basically rear windowing here.
yeah.
So he spots Purdy, who is another Dalmatian,
Yep.
and her pet, and thinks, oh, she'd be great for Roger. And so he tricks Roger into thinking that it's time for walkies. They head to the park, and hilarity and romance ensues.
Yep. Um, you know, obviously, obviously, it all works out.
Yeah,
They,
it's not called Two Dalmatians, and nothing comes of it.
yeah, two boring old dogs hanging out.
Two
Uh,
poor dogs just chilling.
yeah, no, it's a uh, it's an interesting like just quick exposition dump at the beginning of this movie.
Yeah, yeah. And so also like what's funny is so we kind of flash forward to where Roger and Anita are getting married, and so you see like outside you see Pongo and Perdita like also taking their vows at the same time, right?
Yep.
But you look inside the church, there's nobody watching Roger and Anita get married. It's just the priests. Like, are the dogs the witness?
Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? The rules in this particular movie are like because it could almost take place in the same universe as like Lady and the Tramp
Yeah.
because there's a lot of like there's a lot of similarities playing on like
It's especially coming up. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, uh, but yeah, it's the rules just seem to the animals live human lives
Yeah, yeah.
separate from the humans, although the humans never see the human lives part of these animals. It's
They're oblivious to their dogs taking wedding vows
yeah,
just outside the window. Like
yeah,
what?
just right there. Right, I, what? Yeah, I tend to know exactly what my dog like. I see you see your dog out of the corner of your eye all the time. Like, is he trying to get up on the? What is he doing?
Yeah, yeah. Like even like I have a cat, and I'm like that. Like get off of there.
Yeah,
Get off of there.
it's like yeah, you see them having a wedding reception, which is it seems rather noticeable, but I guess you're preoccupied with your own wedding reception, I suppose. But at the same time, like you
Yeah.
think out of the corner of your eye, you'd be like, wait, what?
Dude, is my dog getting his bachelor's degree? So yeah, we go.
Time jump. Yeah, time jump.
Time jump,
Yeah,
and
15
Roger,
puppies. Time jump and
15
15
puppies,
puppies later.
almost 14,
Yeah,
but
yes. Yeah.
Roger uh, turned out to be lucky. He basically rolls him like a tamale instead of
Yeah,
rolling it.
yeah. I think that like that was the thing to do at the time. Like you're trying to stimulate. It's so small and delicate. You're trying
Yeah,
to stimulate airflow and stuff. But this is also the introduction of probably the what is well, I'm not going to say probably. It really is considered the best character of the movie because it's the only character with like character.
yeah. And you're of
Uh,
course talking about the maid.
the maid,
Yeah, the
yes,
maid. Yeah,
frantically running around the house looking for things to put puppies into.
yeah.
It's it's a delight for the eyes. You can't. Uh, it's you can't see like look. It's got to come up more than once during this. You can't see a lot of these scenes and not just instantly remember the Simpsons episode.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Uh,
it's like this movie and the Simpsons movie are so entwined. The Simpsons movie, the Simpsons episode are so entwined in my mind that I will think that what happened in the Simpsons movie happened, or Simpsons episode happened in this movie.
like the part where Cruella called all the puppies Rory Calhoun.
Well, I want to put it beyond. I want to be put it beyond this movie to have that be what would actually happen. Or, like putting the puppy in the sock that
Yeah,
slides down the refrigerator.
yeah.
Like I, if you were to mention that scene, I probably would have believed you that that was in this movie. But
So how do Cruella and Anita know each other again? I don't know if I ever had.
schoolmates, they were
Their school.
schoolmates.
They seem like they would have been friends.
Yeah, it seems like they would be in completely different circles.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know what her upbringing is, though, I guess. We don't know much about Anita,
Yeah.
really.
She's
So,
kind of just there.
yeah, like we know we know Cruella DeVille's thing.
Yeah.
We know Roger's thing. We don't really know her thing. If they went to school together, okay, so in the book, we know Cruella's deal is that she's so obsessed with fur that she marries the guy that's making all the fur coats and stuff.
Right.
So he keeps all the fur at their house, so she has access to it. And,
Huh.
and
That's
so
way
it's
more macabre than I thought.
yeah. So the implication being there is that maybe she's wealthy now but wasn't kind of situation.
Oh yeah.
So, so I mean, but they don't have that sort of background for this. She's just the rich snob of town that dresses in fur, and you know how these two know each other is never explained. Like, because they're still schoolmates in the book.
Yeah.
But if you take into account that she married into the fur stuff, maybe she was, maybe, they were in the same social circles growing up, and she just happens to connive her way to a husband to. It's actually much more macabre than
Yeah.
because, um, like the cat. It's like she has a cat that ends up helping the puppies at the end, and the cat hates her so much because she drowned her babies to make fur, and stuff.
Oh
So
my God.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my God.
they
Is
they
is
they they, they tend to dive a little deeper into the what it means to skin an animal to make these
yeah.
fur coats than this movie does. This movie, it's sort of like what's happening, but we're not going to say it. Like what's happening. So,
Yeah, but you're right. Like I felt like even Jasper and Horace have more exposition than and like okay, they're gonna go back to jail to get caught again. We get it.
yeah,
Boom.
yeah. So so yeah, back to the actual movie where we're now actually introduced to Cruella de Vil. Um, get it? Because her last name looks like evil.
Yeah.
Cruel,
Deville.
cruel, evil, devil. Yeah, okay.
Oh, and Roger's writing a song. He figured out a melody, but has no words to go with it until
Yeah, until Cruella comes to visit.
smoking her yellow smoked cigarette,
Yep,
which is is she smoking meth?
she certainly has the visual appearance
Boy, does she!
with that coat off.
Yeah,
Uh, she certainly looks like she's being wasted away. Uh,
yeah,
um, but yeah, she comes to visit and wants to buy the entire litter of 15 puppies. Um, obviously, that's a no go.
yes. Roger puts his foot down
Yeah,
after they're born. Yeah,
he doesn't trust Cruella de Vil.
gee,
Anita does.
why?
Yeah, Anita does because they're friends and just assumes the best, kind of like that's. but but
Yeah,
it's like, hey man, her name's Cruel Ella Devil. Come on,
yeah, and also
it's like yeah, Guy Bagman is it's gonna
it's Roger's best friend.
yeah. Um, but but yeah, she obviously this is unacceptable that she can't have these puppies. So she hires the two bumbling goobers
Yeah,
of Jasper and Horace to steal the dogs.
yeah, yeah. Jasper, like, this is kind of going off track here, but like, I didn't realize that in the live action movie, House played Jasper.
Yep, yep,
It's like, what are you doing in this movie, House?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. He was trying to still find himself as an actor, obviously,
I guess it's like, hey, you're British.
but also, I mean, like, it would also be hard to turn down a movie where um, it's a Disney movie based off of a classic
Yeah,
uh, story starring Glenn Close. So you could,
true.
it's you'd want to. It's not a bad bet to gamble on. Again,
He just really wanted to work with Jeff Daniels.
just absolutely. It's like I loved your work, and I need to share the screen with you and really learn something.
Arachnophobia changed my life.
Certainly did mine. Uh, but but yeah, so the puppies get stolen. They're kind of, I mean, generally uneventfully, the puppies get stolen.
Yeah, they just get taken.
Yeah, there's no, I mean, they're helpless little puppies. It doesn't take much to just throw them in a sack and walk off with them. Like,
Yeah,
they're not going to put up much of a fight, and they don't make a lot of noticeable sound. So,
they pretty much wait till Roger need to take Pongo and Purdy for a walk,
yeah,
and then they snatch the puppies.
yeah. Um, but then Scotland Yard gets involved, and they can't find them or anything. And then they use the
Twilight Bark.
Twilight bark to, yeah. That's an
Yeah.
interesting concept that doesn't really go anywhere. Uh,
Well, you're talking about like the similarities between this lady and the tramp. There you go.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I almost said Twilight Princess. I was like, no,
yeah.
our
No,
Zelda
that's
episode was last week.
yeah. The Lost Zelda episode is last week. This is the talking dog cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Where Roger turned into a wolf and he can no.
but yeah, yeah. They used the Twilight bark to to get to enlist the help of all the other dogs. And
And one cat.
yeah, yeah. Um, it actually has its own Wikipedia entry, the Twilight Bark. I noticed when I
Really?
was looking. Yeah,
I did not know that.
but it's only like a vague description of uh, what it is, and it's just that it's a fake thing created by the author of the book,
What
and
is
and I guess there's a sequel to 101 Dalmatians, book wise.
huh?
So
I was gonna say like, why is there a Wikipedia for Twilight Bark? And
yeah,
then then I realized like 2 days ago I was reading the Wikipedia of Lex Luger, so it doesn't make any. So who am I to judge?
yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, you get so yeah, you're enlisting the help of the many dogs in the area and a cat, which I
and
assume is which I assume is just the replacement for the cat that is featured in the book, Cruella de
yeah,
Vil's cat, because
yeah.
Cruella de Vil's cat doesn't make an appearance in this particular one because I assume that the writers like we're not having this
No,
PTSD cat. This is not
yeah.
going to be the thing that we're going to write into our children's movie. Uh,
Well, I mean, if you think about it, though, like of all the animals, Sergeant Tibbs is maybe the most helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Also, Sergeant Tibbs is such a great name for a cat.
it is a fantastic name for a cat.
Yeah, like I'm surprised there aren't more Sergeant Tibbses in existence, like people naming their cats Sergeant Tibbs.
Sergeant Tibbs.
Yeah, but yeah, so the Colonel, which is the
Yeah,
sheepdog, which
yep,
is essentially just your what you expect a sheepdog to look like in a Disney.
yeah, yeah.
You got Captain, the horse,
Right.
and yes, and Sergeant Tibbs, the cat, and they find the dogs.
They find the dog. Now, here's this. We're going to come up with this in a few episodes, but like when I was trying to remember parts of this movie, I always would mix them up with Aristocats. Like, is this just Aristocats with dogs?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, it is.
yeah. I
Like,
mean,
were there geese? No, that was Aristocats.
and I know, and I'm going to do the research again, but I know that scenes from this might have been reanimated for Aristocats or something.
I'm almost
We're
positive that's true.
we're getting into the era where the movies are going to start featuring reworked scenes from previous movies. It's
Yeah.
already happened, and we haven't really talked about them because they're sort of uneventful and like you're just like, it is what it is. Like
Right.
Fantasia appeared in some of the compilation features from earlier and
Right.
stuff, but now we're going to start getting into ones where it's a lot more noticeable,
Oh
and
yeah.
we're only a couple of episodes away from this being a thing. So, um, uh, so yeah, but yeah, they find the puppies at Cruella de Vil's just absolutely terrible looking house,
I mean, it's literally called Hell Hall.
hellhole. Yeah,
Oh,
in the in the book, after the day is saved and um, they get all of the puppies and all of that nonsense. The family ends up buying Hell Hall because through the plot devices, the dogs and the cat destroy all of the fur, leaving Cruella de Vil and her husband broke, so they have to sell the house. And so they end up buying the house because they need a bigger house because now they have 100 dogs.
wow.
Yeah, so they end up buying Hell Hall. Uh,
Wow. I
yeah,
mean, that's probably more satisfying, but still,
yeah.
eh.
I wouldn't want them to buy this version of Hell Hall
No.
because
It's pretty.
it's
How did
run down.
yeah, like you feel like you see Krill on an episode of Hoarders.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You would expect them to like, and next, it's like here's the puppy skinning room, and now
yeah.
here's the newspaper room.
It's like you just go like Corella. Do these beaver pelts bring you joy? If not, you need to get rid of them.
exactly, exactly. But but not only do they find their puppies, but they find 84 more Dalmatians.
That Cruella's bought from pet stores.
Yeah, um, because she wants to make a Dalmatian coat, essentially. I mean,
I mean, if you have 84, that's probably good.
yeah, and there's like, they're puppies, so I guess there's not a whole lot of fur on, but like, we know how Dalmatians are as puppies. Like, their spots don't really come in
Yeah.
fully. You have to raise these dogs a little bit.
Well,
So,
to be fair, Cruella doesn't seem like she's
not,
Cruella Deville, not Cruella del Genius.
yeah, she's not
Yeah.
playing. Yeah, she's clearly not playing with a full deck.
No.
And I always think of her driving and just how insane she
Yeah.
looks while she's driving her crazy bootleg Mercedes.
Her monster mobile, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah,
like something that Ratfink would drive.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's based on a real Mercedes, but like based on like how
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is based on a true events.
Yeah.
It's
She
uh,
has the Ed Gein car.
but yeah. So yeah, so they find they unearth the plot, um, which disappointingly does not feature Mr. Burns breaking out into "See My Vest."
And just see my vest. I
Yeah,
really like the vest. I gather.
it that is such a good song.
Well, I mean,
It
if
it,
you
it it, it, it feels like it has a place in this movie in its own way.
it
Like,
does,
yeah,
because it's even though the melody is based off "See My Be Our Guest," it's still
yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah,
Um, if you know how we rank the episodes or the movies in
yeah,
order,
yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and rank the Simpsons song. It's a solid three. It's a solid three.
It's the third best Disney song.
It is the third best. Yes, the third best Simpsons Disney song.
It's
I mean,
what's like number one and two? Is it like the
oh, for Simpsons Disney or just Simpsons?
Simpsons
Oh,
Simpsons songs? Are you gonna have like a
Monorail's is number one.
monorail song and
Yeah.
what's uh the baseball song at the end of the baseball episode?
That'd be number two. Yep.
There we go. So
Yep.
there you go. There's our official Simpsons song.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, back to a different cartoon that
Yes.
we're actually supposed to be talking about.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, this thing.
yeah, this thing. Um, uh, so yeah, the word gets back down through. I'm assuming the Twilight Bark again.
Yeah.
Uh,
The Twilight Barkness.
yeah, uh, that the puppy's been found and where they're at. So the Dalmatians. It's winter at this point, so it's treacherous. Now it's
Yeah. This
but
is this is the point where they cover themselves in soot to
yeah,
fool Horace and Jasper. We're like,
yeah,
we're looking for like a bunch of dogs. Well, there goes a bunch of dogs, but they're covered in soot. Can't be the ones we're looking for.
yeah, yeah. Um, I like there's the scene where uh, Cruella orders Jasper and Horace to kill the dogs before the cops can get there.
Yeah.
Is very similar to the book because pretty much the same thing happens.
Right.
It's once they find out that you know oh now the dogs are being looked for.
Hmm.
Once they're dead. There's nothing you can do about it kind
Right.
of situation. So
Hide the evidence.
yeah. But I I do like that. Jasper and Horace just they, they start watching TV, and
Yeah,
like that's their downfall.
yeah, and they get foiled by Sergeant Tibbs here.
Yeah, yeah, they get sidetracked by watching TV. Um, they finish their show up. It's just so funny. Like this is the first time like television has played a plot in a Disney movie because at this
Yeah,
point TV is now a thing.
right. Because earlier in the movie, you had the puppies watching Thunder or whatever the heck it was,
Yeah,
like a Rin Tin Tin type of show.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, yeah. The day is saved essentially.
Yeah,
The plot is foiled. The puppies are uh, saved, and the Colonel and Tibbs get the puppies out of the house. Uh, like, there's never really much threat that the puppies are ever going to get killed because you recognize Jasper and Horace as just sort of bumbling buffoons,
yes,
and you never feel a threat from them in any way, shape, or form. Like you know that these dogs are going to outsmart them. Like the minute they're introduced, you're like, oh, these two guys are going to get outsmarted by a dog.
yeah, because they're Cockney British, so we know that they're dumb.
Yeah, and they're not.
Oh,
Yeah, and the Cockney British is not Dick Van Dyke, so you know that.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, but
Uh, they get away, and then here we. So I told you about this about a week or two ago.
yeah,
We get the roughest looking animation in this movie, where Cruella. So she drives into a ditch because the puppies are getting away on the back of a truck,
yeah,
and the animation in this scene of her trying to get out of that ditch is bad.
yeah, yeah.
It's bad.
A lot of this movie is bad,
Yeah.
but like it's hard to say bad in some of the instances for this because it's bad for a Disney perspective.
It's Disney bad.
But like even that Cruella scene is sub Disney bad.
Yeah.
Like in particular, it's like it's standoutish bad. Like
Yeah.
the entire movie is well below
Right.
Disney quality, especially if you base it off of last week's episode that we did of Sleeping Beauty, which
Right.
had these stunning landscape scenes and was in widescreen, and had the animation was smoother and stuff. Like this one just felt a little more. It was everything was more subdued. Everything felt like it was like watercolors in a way, like children's
Yeah.
book style.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so it doesn't. Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great. And then she crashes into Jasper and Horace,
Yeah,
and none of
yeah,
them die.
none of them die.
None of them die, despite
And
like this horrible car accident.
yeah, um, but like yeah, that's like their comeuppance, like a car accident.
Yeah.
Like because you never really see like um, I guess the comeuppance is the fact that he gets a hit radio song about Cruella Deville. I guess in the end, that's the
I
comeuppance, right? Because
Roger's sweet diss track about Cruella.
yeah, because she never gets arrested or anything. Like
No.
she never, like she committed a pretty heinous crime, like and a plot, and like she kidnapped a bunch of dogs, and with full like with full intent. Like I'm pretty sure there's conspiracy to commit harm to an animal or something. That you know what I mean? Like, but you never know.
If nothing else, she committed theft.
Yeah,
Just take everything else away.
yeah. Take everything else. She still stole, and not just stole 15 dogs.
Yeah.
Like, it's implied that they bought the 84 other dogs. Um, but at the end of the day, she still stole these 15. Like, you were able to find 84 other Dalmatians. I felt like just sit this one out. I'm sure you'll
Yeah.
find more Dalmatians, but you were so so
What?
dedicated and
Or
locked in to stealing these 15 dogs to get your 100 dogs that you. Your
Or he-
99 dogs. Yeah.
or hear me out, breed them.
Just
You
make
know?
your own. They're
Yeah,
dogs. Make your
yeah.
own.
Just take one Pongo or take one Lucky and put it in a daycare center with a Ditto,
Yeah.
and then
Then you get a dog egg.
you have a
And
dog egg with perfect IVs.
boy, this is I. It's just one of those things where some people are just think you're absolutely insane hearing this description of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to explain what any of that is. So anyone listening
No.
to this has to go like, do they think dogs come from eggs?
Bing, bing, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, in some universe, in some multiverse somewhere, yes, dogs are born
Dogs
of
come from.
eggs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you leave them in a box.
Bach. Or you let them go if they don't if their stats aren't high enough.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's like,
yeah. But yeah, they adopt all the dogs, so now they have 101 dogs, and it's
Roger he has the money from the song, so he has to buy a farm now.
yeah, yeah, and like so yeah, the happy conclusion is now you have 101 dogs and a hit song on the radio. This seems like this seems like a hell existence.
It's like, so I want to tell you, I'm going to admit right now how much of a bonehead I am
Uh oh.
because I'm like, wait, there's 15 puppies, but they find 84 more. That's only 99 dogs. And then I'm like, oh, wait. Pongo and Purdy are also
they,
two
they
dogs.
they also count as Dalmatians.
I
And
was
just
only counting the puppies. Like, where the hell are the other two dogs coming from?
in the book, um, like, four of the dogs are adults because the other litter of puppies, like they find a hurt like Dalmatian in the
Hmm.
road, and her significant other is missing as well as her litter of puppies, and it turns out Cruella de Vil has the litter of puppies. So when they, so the three of them, the two adults and the two adult dogs of the other one that they just found are with like they get their puppies back, so they get 100 dogs, and then finally the um, missing significant other dog shows up, and they end up getting to adopt it. So that's when they get 101. So
Okay.
it's like it's a much more elaborate way of what they simplified the 101 aspect in this movie.
It's a much more elaborate doodle way of
Oh, I now you're fired.
ah I had a good one. Goodbye, folks.
You'll get your final paycheck of $0.
You're gonna mail it to me. I'm not even gonna get
Yeah,
a deposit. Mm.
yeah, yeah. Your 32 cents. But yeah, um, it's funny because like we're talking about it, you realize like we didn't really talk about a whole lot because it's such a bare bones plot.
There's not a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
it
mean,
just kind of happens, and it plays out relatively uneventfully. It's not to say it's bad by any stretch of the
no,
imagination.
it's just very like it's it's a formula that
Yeah,
they used again, not too much later.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like, and just like how we were talking about with the when we were doing the package features in the 40s,
Right.
this is a movie that had a very specific purpose, and it was, oh man, Sleeping Beauty was effectively a box office bomb. We need money.
Yeah.
So that's when you get to this movie, which is uh, basically it. It didn't take long. This book was released in 1956, and this movie
So,
came out in 1961.
so now not a big turnaround.
Not a big turnaround. Like Walt Disney read it the year it came out, or like the year after it came out. He liked it, got the rights. They eventually started working on it in relatively short order. There was very little turnaround. Like I said, from Walt read it in 1957. Movie is made in 1961. That is, uh, you've heard us talk about movies on this before, where like, well, they started working on Sleeping Beauty in 1937 after it was one of the
Yeah.
potential for, or stupid things like that. So this is just a few years of development, and um, and they scaled back virtually everything in this movie. Um, like the like we were talking about earlier, the animation um, uh, was not great, but it was intentional that way. Saved a lot of money by not having these grandiose um, uh, scenes and stuff. And they also started using um, a new process for this particular movie. Um,
Xerox.
yeah, Xerox. Iwerks is back with the studio at this point, but not as an animator. He was always interested in like the process of animation and stuff. Um, and so this was like his deal. Like, you can save a lot of time and money by Xeroxing the cells, essentially. And I mean, that's so you basically, by doing that, by Xeroxing these cells, the inking process is pretty much completely done away with.
Which, I mean, again, I think I wouldn't be so critical to animation here
Yeah,
if we hadn't just bought Sleeping Beauty, and so it's a
yeah,
little more jarring. Like, oh God,
yeah. Well, and they used a little bit of the Xerox stuff in Sleeping Beauty.
really?
The
I did.
Thorn Forest in Sleeping Beauty was
Okay,
Xerox.
okay.
Um, but uh, I lost track of what I was saying. I'm sorry. This is weird.
Uh,
Yeah, no. So they had so the Xerox stuff eliminates the inking process entirely, and so that saves a lot of like the pencil work that needs to be done on backgrounds, and that saves a lot of time. That's why you're able to have such quick turnaround on this movie
right.
because you're copying cells directly without needing to have. So you're just animating over just copy paper essentially
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and it doesn't ruin the movie by any stretch of the
No,
imagination.
it doesn't.
You feel the rush to this movie. You feel the we need to make a cheap, quick buck, and for better or worse, it works out for him. Um, I think it sets a bad precedent for the studio, which we'll get to obviously very quickly with some of these movies of this sort of you can make a lot of money and not spend a lot of money.
Yeah, but
Uh,
they cut corners and it
yeah,
shows. So
yeah.
so, so like you saying like this is kind of this movie was a success.
It made them a good chunk of money. It was actually quite a big
It's
success for them.
and so it's not too dissimilar from like how Dumbo was like, oh, it made us some money. We can stay afloat for a little longer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's kind of disappointing in a sense where they use their money from some of these other ones, like their cheap buck ones to fund other movies, but like we're getting to the point now where like they're not really using the money for like a big grand project because I mean like we're going into Sword of Stone
right.
and things like that. Winnie the Pooh, which is one of a personal favorite of mine,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
uh, but it's not. It's cheap and it looks cheap. Um, it just has great character design, and the characters are charming. They all have personality and stuff, which goes a long way. Not every character has personality in this, in like 101 Dalmatians or something. So the cheapness and the simplicity of the story sort of work against it in some ways.
So I don't know if you know the answer to this, but like I mean, at this period, like Disneyland's built.
Oh yeah.
Is Disneyland running at a loss, and they just kind of need to make up the money wherever they can, or
No,
okay,
no, not
just
really.
just cheap
Yeah,
for the sake of being cheap.
at this point in history, cartoons mean very little to the studio. Um, Disneyland is Disneyland. It's doing its own thing. Live action movies are where it's all
Mickey
at this
Mouse Club.
point. Yeah, Mickey Mouse Club, all this stuff. Like, I'm trying to think of what the I can't remember. Let's see what the there has to be a way to know. I'm sure if you look at 1961, um, we'll see what the live action, um, big live action movie of 1961 was
For Disney or just in general?
for Disney, or at least the 60s. Because sorry, this is very this is bad. This is bad radio. It's just simply the Parent Trap. Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
was yeah, Parent Trap, The Absent-Minded Professor, Babes, in Toyland. You could see
I,
where,
yeah.
and even before this, 1960 was the Swiss Family Robinson, not Pollyanna. Um, you're gonna have throughout the 60s. You're gonna have more stuff. You're just a few years away from Mary Poppins,
Right.
um, The Incredible Journey, the original one.
Hmm.
Uh, that Darn Cat is 1965,
Oh,
which
right. I remember that movie.
yeah, That Darn Cat, the original one, not the remake, but the original That Darn Cat is genuinely was and still is really funny. Uh,
I haven't seen that. I don't think I've seen that movie in its entirety.
wow, you got go everyone watch That Darn Cat. It's
Watch that
great.
darn cat.
But the original, not the remake. Not the remake.
Not the who is it? Is who's in that one? Uh oh God, what's her name? Christina Ricci.
Yeah, yeah,
Christina Ricci's in that in the remake.
yeah. I seem to remember, and I have to look at what year that came out because I vaguely remember for like when I was in school, they had like a day where it was my school was close to a movie theater, so we all
Hmm.
got to go to the movies and we got to choose a movie. And ever it was That Darn Cat and something else, and I think it was I got your choice between That Darn Cat and I feel like it was one of the Star Wars special editions. Probably Star Wars, the special
And,
edition.
and and let me guess which one you guys saw.
Oh, I actually chose Star Wars. I did not
No,
go to That Darn Cat.
oh, I was gonna say like you all had to agree as a group, and you're
No,
like that.
you got your choice. You get to go to Star Wars or That Dark Cat. And I think the next year was Godzilla and something else. And I went to go see Godzilla, so I made the bad choice the second
You
time.
sure did.
Uh, but I made the right choice, at least for me, the first time around. It was say what you want about the special editions. At least it was Star Wars and not That Dark Cat.
You went to see that darn New Hope.
that, that darn Java CG.
Yeah. Oh God.
But uh,
Disney, go back and fix that, please. God.
um, but yeah, there's a whole it's so obviously at this point Walt just he's checked out.
Yeah.
He cartoons whatever. I think there's only a couple of other projects that he ever has any sort of, and um, he's only a few years away from passing away. Because he
He's still
died.
doing wonderful with the World of Disney, though. Here.
Yes. At this point in 1961, we've only got about 5 years left of Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Um, so, uh, so he's checked out. The like when they bring up the Xerox stuff, he's like, yeah, whatever, fool around with it all you want. I don't care. Um, uh, he's not doing well, obviously. He's going to
Right.
be focused a lot on the studio, and in a couple of years, there was a whole movie about it not that long ago of Saving Mr. Banks, where he becomes like really focused on Mary Poppins. It becomes a
Right.
thing for him. Um, so, it is what it is with this stuff now. We're going to start getting into movies that are perfect. It's not like the 40s where they're just all bad movies, with the exception of like Dumbo. You know,
Mhm.
like
You're right.
we're gonna get into movies that are they're okay. They're not great. Um, some of them are going to be some people's favorites.
Yeah.
Some of them are going to be movies that you forgot about entirely. Some of them are going to be things like next week's movie, where you kind of forgot that, like, oh, that's older than I thought. Like,
Yeah.
because it feels like next week's movie is one of like their '80s flops.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. It's we're getting into movies that I actually like, despite
Yeah,
the rougher animation. So,
yeah.
um,
Um, but it's a very interesting uh, cast, I guess, for this movie because
okay.
like you get some like weird uh actors in it because like Rod Taylor is uh uh was cast as this in this and he's from like the Birds. Like
He's the voice of Roger.
he's the voice of Pongo.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Okay, I thought it was who's the voice of Roger? Do we know? Or
The Roger would be IMDb because I forget. Uh, Ben Wright,
okay, I don't know.
who is just he was Ayers Zeller in the Sound of Music.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
He's in My Fair Lady, and lots of Nazi is sort of his because like he was various Nazi officers on Hogan's Heroes. It's his official. He was in. Yeah, I'm looking at this thing, and boy, he was in just everything, huh? Sound
Um,
of Music, Judgment at Nuremberg, My Fair Lady, The Fortune Cookie. He was in My Three Sons, Hogan's Heroes, Combat, Get Smart, Bonanza, Gunsmoke, The Wild Wild West.
it's
Yeah,
like all the broadcast television shows.
yeah,
What's funny is like so Rod Taylor he does this is 61, right?
yes. This is
So like
before he does the birds,
but this is after he did the time machine.
after the time machine.
Yeah,
So
after
yeah,
the time machine. So
so
maybe he was a hot commodity at the time. Who knows?
I mean, I mean, it would be a situation where the time machine seems like the kind of thing that Disney Studios would have had on their radar
Yeah.
because very like of course that seems like the kind of story that they would want to adapt like it's but like it's also completely out of like that seems like it would be a Disney produced live action movie at the time.
If you go back and watch that original one, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But our boy Thurl Ravenscroft of course is in this movie and
Yeah.
he's in everything and I love him and
He's great.
thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're
I do
welcome.
not. I do not have. I do not have the voice to be able to pull off a thorough Ravenscroft impersonation in any way,
Nor do
shape, or
I,
form.
but I did it anyway.
Yeah. And I like thorough Ravenscroft because he looks like a thorough Ravenscroft. When you see
That
pictures of him, like,
that's a lot of name for that man, but you look at him like, okay, no,
oh yeah,
that's
you're a thorough Ravenscroft. And so,
yeah.
for those that don't know, Thorough Ravenscroft was pretty much deep voice guy in everything. Like everything that Disney so he's Tony the Tiger, obviously.
He's totally
Was
Tiger.
he passed away in 2005. So we had Thurls Ravencroft for a very long time doing his
Yeah.
thing. He's
He
the one that sang the Grinch song.
the Grinch song.
Um, and if you go to Disneyland, he's absolutely everywhere in Disneyland. Still
Uh
to this day.
Most notably in the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, most Haunted Mansion. Um, and he's in the Tiki Room. Um,
Oh, he is.
yeah, he was Country Bear Jamboree.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know he appears at like Pirates of the Caribbean. And so, like, if you've heard anything that's remotely deep voice up into 2005, then it's Thurl Ravenscroft.
Yes,
And
Thurl Ravenscroft was the Nolan North of the 1950s and 60s.
oh yeah, he was in everything that Disney did for the most part. Like, um, oh, let's see, yeah, he did Your Mean One, Mr. Grinch, which is like probably his most iconic thing,
Well, maybe,
despite. Oh, I
maybe
mean,
Tony the Tiger.
Tony the Tiger, yeah, Tony the
So,
Tiger,
but
but
Grinch
like,
is like 1A.
yeah, but like, yeah, he's in everything, in so much that we've talked about already, and then some. So it's exciting. It's exciting to see him pop up and just forever, like he's never not working.
He had like certainly people Google this man Thurl Ravenscroft. It's not his name's not spelled how you think it would be. It's Thurl,
Yeah,
and
Ravenscroft though is spelled exactly like
yeah,
how it's.
and you will see the sweetest mustache.
Yeah, it is the most. It is the most 50s mustache you could possibly imagine.
Oh yeah,
Uh, it's great, and he was. He did two iconic ad icons as it was the voice actor for two iconic ad icons. Obviously, we said Tony the Tiger, and also in the 80s, or like in late 70s, he was Jeffrey, giraffe from Toys R Us.
really?
Yep.
Boy, I can't imagine that. Come on down. We have a
Yeah.
Super Nintendo power set.
Well, luckily at that point, it would have only been like an Atari.
Comes with Rob the Robot.
Him trying to sell you ET at his ET Atari game. That
I used to think Thurl Ravenscroft was the guy who sang the GI Joe theme.
uh, it. I mean, obviously it's not, but I think it's
You can
very.
see why I would think that.
Yeah, it's very. I'm sure that's very intentionally the point. I'm sure they wanted you to think that. Um, it's funny. We're talking about music and stuff. Um, Outside of the Corella Deville song, there's
No.
nothing in this movie. It's uh, it's just like, even like um, the Canine Crunchies jingle.
Oh God. Yeah.
Um, but
There's no
it,
music.
it's but there's like no, like, even like the soundtrack, like just the audio mixing and stuff isn't even all that interesting. There's no The score isn't particularly recognizable. Like, I couldn't hum a single thing outside of Corella Deville from this movie.
It's kind of like last week's episode of Sleeping Beauty, like where you had one song.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's
it.
and
One.
it's funny to think about. Like, we all know Disney as this studio that's consistently put out musicals throughout the years, but like 80% of what we've talked about isn't
Yeah.
really a musical. Like,
Yeah.
it has a song. They break out the song once, at most twice, with a rare exception. Like, they don't really become the musical company until like the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say
Yeah.
Oliver and Company is close to a
I put
musical.
I put Oliver and Company as a musical. It's got multiple songs in it.
So
Like, it's much more musical,
yeah,
but
Little
like,
Mermaid is where it really kicks off.
yeah,
Yeah,
Little Mermaid is like where it's like every scene is punctuated with a song, and
right.
they're starting to hire, you know, like, people to write the music, as opposed to just sort of like James Bond theming it, where it's like let's just get this one person to write one song, and that's the theme for this movie, essentially, kind of thing. So,
We
yeah,
are we are coming up and in several episodes. One of my favorite Disney movies, maybe my favorite, which has several good songs in it. Actually,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple that have we'll get to a couple of movies where it's like, boy, there's a lot of music in this, but it's not really like, you know, Jungle Book. Um,
Yeah.
there's a lot of music in the Jungle Book, but
Yes.
it doesn't feel like a musical. It's not paced like a musical, because it's like this one, where the song plays a part of the storytelling and isn't just exposition.
Right.
Like it's just like he's a songwriter and this is his song he's writing. And like when you get to things like bare necessities in the Jungle Book, it's this it's plays the role of I live in a footloose, fancy free
Yeah.
sort of lifestyle. So it's not so much like the movie just suddenly broke out in a song. It's just they're just singing.
Yeah. Well, like, and even like Roger has the melody already down. He just needed words to
Yeah,
go with it.
yeah.
So basically, it was Paul McCartney and scrambled eggs all over again.
If you play it backwards, you get a pretty ripping recipe for lentil soup.
Jasper's dead.
But yeah, so cheap. Walt doesn't care. Just copying scenes, rotoscoping scenes, just it's as usual. You know, live action footage was filmed for this,
Yeah.
which is funny to think that effectively they've like made two live action versions of this movie.
Three, because there was a sequel to the other one.
Yeah, well, I said this movie. The sequel is
The sequel to the sequel. Sequel to
semantics.
the remake.
Yeah,
Did they have puppy days for this movie as well?
I, I want to know, but probably, honestly,
It seems like they had any excuse, like, "Hey, we're gonna animate animals. Let's
yeah.
get some of those animals in here."
I know. You know what? I know for a fact. I've seen shots of like in that big fancy book that I had. It had an animator sitting down with a Dalmatian in front of him, holding a hat in its mouth as he's drawing the animal holding a hat in its mouth. So it certainly brought in animals today
Yeah,
to learn that stuff. Um, but they're not. It's not like Bambi where
yeah,
this is the most important thing in the world and we have to get this. We have to nail it just perfectly.
yeah.
It's easier just to draw from reference. So
Yeah.
they did.
It's like we know what a dog does.
Yeah. So did you ever see this in theaters?
I did not.
It was uh, it was re-released in 69, 79, 85, and 91.
Nope. First time I saw it was on VHS.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I saw it in theaters, and it's not anything that seems like it would have been for me. So I tend
No.
to vaguely remember like if I did or not, and I just don't think I did. If I did, it would have been the 1991 release, I'm sure, because that was the only one I probably would have been alive. That was the only one I would have been alive for. uh,
The movies that I remember very specifically seeing in theaters for re-release were Jungle Book and Fantasia.
those are the
And then
two for me as well.
yeah.
But outside of ones they've done recently,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah. So 91, and it was the 20th highest grossing movie that year in the United States.
In
It's pretty good
1991.
in the 1991 re-release. Yeah,
Nice.
it's
You
pretty
know what?
impressive for a movie that was 30 years old at that point.
And that makes sense, 91, because I do remember like there was a lot of marketing around the movie at that point.
Because it's coming out on video the next year.
Yeah, there's like a lot of there's Happy Meal toys and there's all kinds of
So
things.
yeah, the home video version of it came out in 1992. Um, and then, oh geez, it sold 11 million copies.
Good God.
um, at the time, one of the best-selling home videos of all time. Uh,
I can
Disney
see
stuff,
that.
Disney stuff tends to do that. Uh,
Because of you.
yeah,
For,
because of
double dip and JJ.
dub, double dip is being generous to me because we're at quadruple dips at this point in some instances. uh, like, yeah, I bought Fantasia. Yeah, then I bought the Fantasia DVD box set that came with the Fantasia 2000 and the uh, and the bonus disc. Yeah, I bought the Blu-ray.
This one has a deleted scene in it.
Yeah, but uh, I guess the laser disc. kept getting delayed, according to Wikipedia, which sounds hilarious. Like,
For Dalmatians?
yeah, like
Huh.
there was. It says, due to technical issues, it was later released on Laserdisc and was delayed numerous times. Oh, it was the DVD that was delayed.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
okay. Like that seems absurd because they just kind of dumped stuff onto Laserdisc.
Literally everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
only a handful of things ever got any sort of special digital treatment for Laserdisc. Like Star Wars was one of them, and
Star Wars is one of them.
yeah,
I want to say there was like a special, maybe like Dune or something.
yeah. Well,
Like,
it's where a lot of things like that's the idea of special features started cropping up with
yeah,
Laserdisc commentary tracks and stuff. So, um, but yeah, we just what was it had like its last Blu-ray release was 2015. Um,
that would coincide with when I got the digital copy from you.
yeah.
Yeah,
So um, so yeah, it's here we go. It's been a while. They're about due for another re-release of 101 Dalmatians.
yeah. I feel like in recent years the live action movies got more traction than the animated one.
It was probably because I would say probably because it was a couple of reasons for that. It's probably more readily available. I
Yeah,
mean, like
yeah,
it was everywhere. You certainly had it growing up, and it was everywhere in your periphery,
you're right,
especially if you're younger, because it was the movie that came out when you're younger or
right.
something. So you're gonna have that. You're gonna have one where it's like, well, that's the one, that's the version that was out, and you would go to McDonald's and get the collector's glasses for 101 Dalmatians or the Happy Meals or whatever. And it was everywhere when that movie was out. It was a big movie,
Yeah, yeah,
uh, which is weird to think of because it's not like um, 101 Dalmatians has always just sort of like rode this line for Disney where it's a lot of people's favorite or it's the one that nobody ever thinks about. There's sort of no
yeah,
middle. There's very little middle ground for a lot of people with 101 Dalmatians, and so having that live action remake was a big deal because it's 101 Dalmatians, which was a lot of people's favorite, and it was a massive success when it came out. It was a massive success on a lot of its re-releases. Like we said, the 1991 reissue was in the top 20 highest grossing films of the year. So it was, and 1991 is a perfect time for a lot of my generation to have seen it for the first time.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I know. I guess it's that thing. It maybe, and maybe I'm talking out of term here, but it could be a thing like people will say, "Oh, it's my favorite Disney movie," but they don't know why.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And chances are the reason why is because when you were very young, it was new, it was newly available to you.
yeah,
Because 1991 would have been exactly around the time, no, 1992 when it came out on VHS would have been exactly around the time where like I was aware of you could buy movies now, and
right.
and they were more easily available. They weren't as expensive as they had been, and VCRs were officially sort of just commonplace in the house at this point. Some of the earlier stuff, but because late 80s, it wasn't exactly common practice to own a VCR. You were still renting VCRs and stuff,
Yeah,
but um,
yeah, yeah. So I can tell you the first time I saw this movie was on VHS at the town I grew up was in Arvin, California. So they had a movie day, and they gave us big grocery bags full of popcorn. We were sitting there watching 101 Dalmatians,
when you say grocery bags full of popcorn, you mean just loose popcorn inside a grocery bag, right?
like
Not just
like
like
giant brown paper grocery bags full of
nice.
popcorn.
Like that, like back to the Simpsons. It's like
Yes,
where they couldn't fit him into the seats, so it's like,
sir. If
but we
you would
can't
stop.
we can't offer you a garbage bag full of popcorn.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Pretty much that. Pretty much that. Yeah.
Yeah, um, but yeah, no, huge success both. Um, you know, domestically and internationally, because
Hmm.
Disney is back on track of making the overseas bucks.
Yay.
So that was the most important thing in the world to them, was they needed to get those overseas dollars, and they're finally able to. It was the number one movie of the year in like France or something like that. It's like,
I, I'm going to assume it did really well in the UK.
yes,
Yeah.
it did. Yeah, it did pretty well. It came out on Blu-ray in the UK before it came out on Blu-ray in America by
Well,
a couple of years.
it's set in London, so
It's set in a weird, like, contemporary London of the time when it came out,
yeah.
which is interesting because like she's got a car. It's this, I say contemporary, but it's like, because there's TV and she's got a car is not a particularly common thing in a Disney movie at this era.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Toad was like the only other car driver in,
I
in
think
this
you're right,
movie.
yeah.
So, it's contemporary, but it's contemporary by way of the Batman animated series, where it feels still out of time. Like it's supposed to be modern, but everything still feels like the car doesn't feel like it's a 1961 Mercedes. It feels like it's a, you know,
Yeah.
1940s Mercedes. Like, yeah.
Why does Batman still have black and white television to watch Summer Gleason? I
So,
don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, like even like the wardrobe, like Jasper and Horace's wardrobe. They seem like, yeah, again, going back, there's basically Cockneys,
Yeah.
like My Fair
They,
Lady Cockneys.
yeah, they're a step above being chimney sweeps. You
Yeah,
know, I made the Dick Van Dyke joke earlier, but like
that's how
that's
they're
essentially,
dressed.
yeah, they're dressed like Bert from Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, this movie was critical success.
Hmm.
It was The critics absolutely loved it, both then and now. Um, it, you know, I you see some of them, and it's like the best Disney movie since Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and you're like, oh, slow your roll a little more here. Uh, this is a great movie, but okay, let's
let's let's let's
let's
table
think of
that.
let's think about some of the other movies that came out after Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. There's some great movies that came out. um, like I, you could at least say, hey, this is the best movie they've had since even Cinderella was better than this movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but critics are critics. I do like. Here is the New York Times review. That's really nice. And it says, while the story moves steadily towards a stark, melodramatic chase climax, it remains enclosed in a typical Disney frame of warm family love, human and canine.
Oh,
That is a very good compressed review of this movie, because that's exactly what, yeah, it's moving steadily towards that conclusion to a very melodramatic finish, but it's just so packed of like your typical Disney warmth that you can't help but enjoy yourself watching it.
that is a quote that you could piecemeal and put in the back of a VHS box.
Yeah, yeah, which I'm positive it's
Oh yeah.
there. Roger Ebert gives it 3 out of 4 stars. Um, says it is uneven, but still, um, fun for its target audience. So
What
that's fair.
what what does your boy Leonard Maltin say about it?
Let's see if I could find Leonard Maltin's. Uh, I can tell you before I look up Leonard Maltin is that Cruella de Vil is ranked AFI's 39th best list on the list of heroes and 100 best heroes and villains. So
Huh, okay.
yeah, let's see. There I get to Leonard Maltin 101. Let's see if there's any. Uh, come on, Leonard Maltin, give me something. I don't
Never
want
seen it.
I don't want 100 West Sea films of the 20th century by Leonard Maltin.
Number one, Valley of the Dolls. What?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What are you talking about, Leonard
What are
Maltin?
you talking about?
It does not seem like it's going to be easy to find this.
Okay. We'll assume
Or,
he was. We'll assume he liked it.
yeah, it seems in his wheelhouse based off of everything that I've seen of him in the past. So,
There you go. That's your other back of the box blurb. In
yeah,
my wheelhouse, ellipses, ellipses, Leonard Maltin.
there you go. So now we get to talk about sort of the legacy of the franchise.
Oh,
So we always talk about like was there a sequel?
uh,
We're not,
technically
we're
yes.
not we're not counting the remake.
I think there was, wasn't there?
There absolutely was.
Yeah.
There was a sequel in 2003 that was direct to video called Patch's London Adventure. Um, it's funny because they, so to tie it in with the because you can't talk about this movie without talking about the remakes. Yes, there
Mhm.
was a remake of this, and the remake had a sequel, which is 102 Dalmatians.
Right.
But the animated sequel is 101 Dalmatians 2, which seems like I don't know.
103 Dalmatians.
Yeah, like that seems so awkward. Like 102 is dumb because you have to find an excuse to shove in another dog, but it it makes it a much more interesting title naming convention
Yeah.
for me. But
You can't. And then I think we had the animated series.
you had a TV series, um, two TV series actually,
That's right.
because there was like a modern day take on 101 Dalmatians that is coming out soon,
Mm.
or just recently came out. I don't know exactly. I know there's like a preview out there that you can call. It's a
Yeah. Uh,
right.
the series I'm thinking of was like early '90s, wasn't it?
Absolutely, there was just sort of a, a string of them throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what stuck on the Disney Channel.
Yeah. Like we're gonna take these classic Disney characters and give them '90s attitude.
Yeah, and it was sort of like a combination where it was like it's both based off of the movie and the live action movie in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like because it would have been, let's see when this was, 2 seasons, 1997. Wow, that's much later than I thought.
Okay, cause I was thinking it was like when I looked at it, like this looks like it's like from '91, '92.
How does how the hell does this work? I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for 101 Dalmatians, the series. It has at the very bottom of their little like breakdown of like production and who was involved in production, its release, and what channels it was on. Chronology. It was preceded by Doug and followed by PB and J Otter. Like, what does that mean? Like, it in terms of production, Doug came first. Yeah, okay, I get it.
In
PB
the
and J Otter, like, you don't need to have like, it's not like this is part of a franchise. You don't need to do this part of it. Really, like,
in the beginning, there was only Doug, and then
yeah,
Pork Chop said, "Let there be light."
yeah, and thusly emerged 101 puppies.
Yeah. And
But
Skeeter slew Abel.
yeah, so yeah, you have your live action movie with sequel. Um, the sequel came out like 4 years later, so
Okay.
but there there's going to be a another live action 101 Dalmatians.
Is it another remake or is it 103 Dalmatians?
It is another remake. It's
Okay.
a it's a Cruella de Vil origin story.
Much like the Maleficent, like one we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Um,
I don't really need to know how the ice cream's made. Just give me the ice cream.
yeah,
You know,
young Cruella Deville will be played by Emma Stone.
I can see
So
that. Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, um, uh, uh, Alex Timbers was set to direct it, but they announced that he left doing the movie and is going to be replaced by the director that directed I, Tonya.
Okay.
So okay, I want it to be presented like I, Tonya, where it's Cruella Deville telling
Just
her story to the camera as
yeah.
the movie plays out. Uh, it's just this real Ferris Bueller style.
The part where Cruella just like takes out Anita's knee.
Theme park wise,
There is a ride, is there not?
I is there? No, there's
I thought
not.
that for some reason I thought there was a Cruella like ride, like we were in her car, maybe.
Nope,
I
nope.
you know what?
You've made
I'm
up a
thinking
ride.
I made up a ride, which should totally be a thing. But then you know what, you're right. I'm thinking of the Roger Rabbit ride that terrified my child. So
Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin, huh? Same
terrified.
thing as same thing as Cruella Deville the ride.
But you could think about it, like
I mean, it's not to say that they don't like with any Disney property. It's not to say they don't appear at the theme parks,
right.
but
I could have sworn there was a ride, but
um, but no, there absolutely is not. There's absolutely not a ride. Um, what else? Let's see. We did that. We did the movies. Uh, the TV series. I guess yeah. Did theme park. I guess video games. Um, I always like to talk about video games. Thing is, 99% of these video games are based off the live action movies, since the live action movie came out at around the time where video games were
yeah.
everything had a tie-in. So in order to make a 101 Dalmatians game, you if you were going to make a 101 Dalmatians movie game, you are going to be basing it off of a movie that is, 40, 50 years old or something.
I think isn't the plot of the live action one that Roger's a game developer?
Uh, is it? I genuinely don't remember. It's
Like I'm almost positive that's what his role is. Like because they modernize it. He's a game developer.
But yeah, okay. I genuinely don't remember. I remember seeing that movie 20 years ago,
Well,
and
let's look it up. See if Nick's not
yeah,
just pulling stuff out of his butt again.
which you know, it's to be expected from you.
Yeah, you monster. All right, so let's see
Is
here.
Jeff Daniels a game developer?
Yeah, American video game designer Roger. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a game designer.
yeah. It doesn't
Yeah,
play as much of a plot point as him being a songwriter. So,
no. Well,
um,
like the plot is like he makes a game based off the Dalmatians
yeah,
adventure. So you see that at the end of the movie.
yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, there are several 101 Dalmatians quote end quote games, but they're not really games. There's like one of them at best is a game, and the rest are like, you know, various versions of what is it effectively a print studio, just like, you're buying clip art for. But there are a couple. There was a Dreamcast game based off of 102 Dalmatians.
Uh,
There's a point and click adventure game based off of the movie. I think the most substantial based off of the actual cartoon is Kingdom Hearts has a side mission where you're finding 99 of the um, puppies hidden throughout the world. So throughout the worlds.
yeah,
So they're like in every level there are Dalmatians hidden that you're supposed to find and rescue. And
and
so
then
that's
we're getting the Arc Systems fighting game coming out soon. So
yes. It's 101 Dalmatians versus 101 Gokus.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I would totally buy a Arc Systems produced 101 Dalmatians fighting game. I'm hungry, mother. I really am.
Oh Lord Almighty, we need to wrap this up
Yeah.
now. We're getting punchy. But yeah, so I mean, let's start ranking. That seems to be the where we're at for this right now.
Let's start
So
ranking this bass. Let's go.
yeah, he is not featured in this movie.
Nope.
Although a Rankin Bass produced uh, uh, 101 Dalmatians, which is all like claymation dogs.
Yeah.
Seems like that would be well worth uh, my time.
Hi, Davy. No, no, no.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
But hi, Davy, 100 more times
Oh gosh.
in unison.
It's like that one of those Star Wars memes where just hello there over and over again.
So Nick, here's your list.
Sure.
Better or worse than Dumbo?
Worse than Dumbo.
How about Fantasia?
Worse than Fantasia.
Cinderella?
Worse than Cinderella.
Ichabod and Mr. Toad?
Worse than Ichabod Mr. Toad.
Lady and the Tramp?
I like it better than Lady Tramp.
So you're putting it above Lady and the Tramp and Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Insert 101. All right. So for me, obviously it's worse than Fantasia.
Mm-hmm.
Cinderella, yeah. Snow White, worse than Snow White. Worse than Peter Pan. I like Lady and the Tramp more.
Okay.
I like Lady and the Tramp more. I like Sleeping Beauty more. Uh, I think I like it more than Pinocchio.
Okay.
So I am going to put this above Pinocchio for me. So this makes it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on my list, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your list.
Okay. Which is
So
odd because I thought I would rank it a lot lower than I did, but when I compare, I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? I didn't like it better than that movie.
between the two dog movies, I think I like Lady and the Tramp more. I mean, that's there's,
Yeah.
I don't know. We spent a lot of time sort of trashing down on how simple Lady and the Tramp was and how there's not a whole lot going on. Ostensibly, there's more going on in this movie, but I
Uh,
just, I just like Lady and the Tramp more. I like the way it looks more,
yeah. Yeah.
which goes a long way with me, especially for a Disney cartoon.
The real conundrum will be when we get to this movie again in a few episodes where it's just all cats, which I oddly like more than this movie.
So there we go. Uh, Number 17 on our slow march through all the chronological releases of the Walt Disney Animation Studios
The
films.
Bataan Disney March.
Yeah. Next week, we will be back with number 18, 1963, Christmas Day, 1963, The Sword and the Stone.
Yeah.
I haven't seen The Sword and the Stone in a very, very long time. So I'm very excited to watch Sword in the Stone again.
I watched it recently. Just
So
not for the show, just because I wanted to.
just because
Yeah.
another Disney British novel adaptation,
Yeah. There's
kind of.
a uh I have a feeling we've kind of teased us diverging a little bit. I have a feeling this will be the beginning of that.
We'll see. We shall see.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen this movie in a very, very long time, and I'm not going to spoil what my uh, memory of this movie being, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
That's next week. That's next week's problem. But until then, I want to thank you all for joining me on another exciting journey through all of this Disney nonsense that we like to talk about so much. And I'd like to thank you for joining me as well, Nick.
Oh, you're quite welcome. My pleasure.
Um, but until next week, and until we start yanking this sword from a big old rock, I want to wish you all a magical day.
Bye.